Sports Fence Rick Horrow inside the $2.6 trillion business of sports. We're on the record. We have a number of mayors that we started interviewing at the U.S. Conference of Mayors special section on public-private partnership. One of the mayors who has the tremendous vision, the context of a whole lot of things: Atlanta, the World Cup, new introduction of sports debate, Falcons opportunities as well, women's soccer. Mayor Andre Dickens, born in Atlanta, Georgia Tech graduate, BS in chemical engineering, Georgia State, worked in engineering, business, and nonprofit development, served on the Atlanta City Council from 2014 to 2022, elected as mayor 22, re-elected in 2025. He lifted the COVID mask mandate, committed $100 million to housing, investing in early childhood education, created a nightlife division, $13 million for homelessness, a whole bunch of positives relative to Mayor Dickens. And also, we have some interesting questions about all of the commitments around Mercedes-Benz Stadium, the desire for hockey potentially, obviously the World Cup generation excitement. Youth sports, very important. Remember, I'm involved in sports debate as well, and hear what he has to say about that. Very significant issue, especially as the Falcons becoming one of the first national and one of the first pioneer sponsors of that event. So, a lot to hear from Mayor Andre Dickens. Here he is now.
The whole idea of public-private partnerships and facilities and how communities move forward is intertwined in enlightened leadership, public and private, and the U.S. Conference of Mayors is a clearinghouse for that enlightened leadership. One of the most enlightened leaders you can possibly find on the face of this earth is Atlanta Mayor Andre Dickens. You like that? Is that okay? Is that good?
That was good. I think that.
You'll take that. And frankly, a Miami ACC guy, kind of difficult to talk about Georgia Tech, but you did okay this year. 16-team playoff, you'd have been in.
Yeah, we would have been in if we would have had 16. But Georgia Tech, we had a great start. We were 9-0, and then we kind of fizzled out towards the end with some losses that we really want to get back next year.
Yeah.
And we've got a great recruitment class. So I think Georgia Tech and Brett Key are a great coach.
Yeah.
Sort of phenomenal job. So we'll be back at the top.
All right. So you and other mayors need to reconvene how you restructure NIL and the future of sports so it doesn't get away from us. You've got other issues.
Yes, that's right.
Yeah, he probably got a
Mayor of NIL. Or
mayors for NIL. Nick Saban is in it. Coach K is in it. You might as well do it as well. You worked in engineering, in business. You got an MPA, Georgia State University. You're Georgia Tech grad, BS in chemical engineering. Those are industries, if you put the stuff in the wrong test tube, you blow it up. In politics, it's all about gray area compromise and creative thought. How do you reconcile the two?
Yeah, it's tough because as an engineer, you know that you can problem solve and you can get to the right answer. But in politics, while you may know what the right answer is, you got to be able to communicate it and get people to yes, which means somewhere along the way you might have to compromise or do incremental improvements versus just go directly to the answer. We've been able to do that successfully. And once you get the momentum going, people give you some grace.
Well, they should give you some grace because you certainly earned it. So you've been in the chair since 2022, but you've been in the political hot seat since 2014. What was the epiphany? When did you say, all right, I'm going to do this?
Yeah, I've always wanted to be the mayor of Atlanta, and I started off as a city council member for 8 years, 14 in 2014, and I just said, hey, it's time. It's time for me to run and go lead. I was a neighborhood leader, and I was a nonprofit and church leader, and I said, let's go to government.
Yeah, well, so COVID-19 mask mandate issues, $100 million to housing, early childhood education, nightlife division, $13 million for homelessness. Amazing accomplishments in a relatively short period of time.
Yeah, we had to get a lot done in a short amount of time. It's been 4 years of just constant acceleration. I said we had to supercharge the government because we were coming out of COVID. And I had to get everybody back to work. We had to do our, separation and mask policies, our social distancing. But we said we're going to fill potholes. We're going to bring down crime. We're going to make sure these youth have activities. We're going to grow our public service areas as well as our parks and recreation. And so we just did all we could. And look at the results. The city is doing very well. We had to jump in there and get it done. Luckily, I had a great team. And we knew how to, just get stuff done and not let politics get in the way.
Interested for a
Yeah.
politician to say, not let politics in the way. Need more of you. When you think about it, U.S. Conference of Mayors has been involved with this group as a volunteer for a number of years, and the whole idea of enlightened public-private partnership, revenue sharing, uh, in the broad notion of PPP. I know you're
Yeah.
big on the airport piece, and you did that yesterday. And in stadium world, there were about $12 billion annually pre-COVID. Then nationally, it dropped to about $6. Now they're about $32 billion in the pipeline for the next 5 years. COVID meant people needed to wake up, pay attention, get more creative on everything they did.
Yes, for sure. COVID just showed us that we, had to be able to still get work done while being careful about what the community expectations and needs are. I'm big on public-private partnership. P3s are a way for us to get things done less expensive, more innovative, and save time. Working with the private sector because they have a profit, driven motivation and to make sure their stakeholders are taken care of. Whereas the public is still about getting the work done for the most amount of people at the right cost.
Tough question, but I think easier after COVID. Billions of dollars, 10 billion on this 30 billion list committed from the public sectors nationally. Yet you look at your priorities, their affordability and housing and the like. Given the need for creative environments today, is there room for both public money for sports, entertainment, infrastructure, and the other probably more needed priorities in the community?
Every deal is different. And community benefits agreements have to be incorporated, local hiring, making sure that you have local contracting and disadvantaged business contracting, making sure the city council and the mayor's office get multiple bites at the apple, that you don't just do this one day and then it lasts for 30 years. You want to make sure that you can come back to the table and say what's working, what's not working. You never want to just hand over the keys to a private entity for something that's going to use a whole lot of public dollars. So public-private partnerships are key. I think they can work. I dare not go into every city and tell them what will work for them, but what works for us is some form of public-private partnership for stadiums and arenas.
Given that you CFP, you have World Cup coming up, you have Super Bowl, it helps you if you have an owner like Arthur Blank.
Oh yeah, there's nothing better than the Arthur Blank. I mean, not only is he driven for success, but his heart is in the right place. He puts his money and his team to work to be able to, help us do community side stuff, not just stadium. He's built a beautiful stadium. He's got an amazing team, two teams, the Falcons and United. Both are, great success stories. We got to win a championship with the Falcons. I am the lead of the cheerleading squad for the Falcons.
Are you the no, Matt Ryan's German.
Yeah.
I thought you were German.
You can't.
Confused.
I say this all the time. I'm a bigger Falcon fan than any guy ever. I mean, I grew up in Atlanta.
Yeah.
I want us to get a Super Bowl. I was there at the Super Bowl in Houston when we were.
Did you leave it? Did you leave at halftime?
Yeah, I stayed all the way through. We beat the Patriots, just not at the end of the game.
Yeah, no, that's very well put.
But yeah.
Stop the game at halftime. You guys had the parade already.
I blame Lady Gaga. She did the halftime show.
Too long.
And it just changed the whole flow of the
Too
game.
long, and just like that's as fantastical as the guys that would bear or blame the power outage in New Orleans for the Niners. Come on, man. I mean, live in a real world. That's like that.
Hey, I'm a fan. I'm gonna blame anything: the wind, the sun, whatever it takes. But we got to get back to the Super Bowl.
One issue with all mayors that is an interesting dynamic. They all admit, and I've been in the business of metrics and how to do these things. The hardest thing to quantify, but the easiest to understand, is the quality of life, emotional excitement, commitment when a team does well or when a team relocates or a major event comes in. How do you feel about that equation?
I mean, I'm a math guy. I'm a physics guy. Energy matters.
That's interesting.
It's a true energy around sports when they come into a new city or they build a new stadium. Heck, even changing uniforms, or getting a new quarterback, you get a new energy, and that matters significantly. And that pumps energy into your economy and into your people. Yeah, so the quality of life goes up.
So, what about youth sports and their role in Atlanta, Georgia, team involvement, all that? How important is that?
Georgia's a big football and basketball, track and field state. The state of Georgia, we produce a whole lot of talent that goes on to the NFL, the NBA, track and field, etc., on the men's and women's side. And so we make sure that we invest in local Parks and Recreation, our AAU, our YMCA. I have midnight basketball on top of all of that. We do everything we can to keep the kids busy, which helps them be able to learn teamwork, learn conflict resolution, but also it's a violence reduction apparatus too, because once they're busy playing, they're not out there doing other stuff.
All right, so this is a trap, but not a Pulitzer trap. So I've been appointed the national chairperson of NAUDL, the National Urban Debate League, for sports debate. I've told them that it's important not just debating in junior high or high school about the national debt or China policy, but should athletes be paid and franchise relocation. And we're doing that nationally. And the first team that's involved is the Falcons. We're having major events that start this spring. And so I want to make sure that you know that next time we talk is going to be about how to make sure that it happens for the betterment of Atlanta, especially because the metrics, when you look at graduation rates, student involvement, and self-esteem, are all really important, which is why Arthur and Rich McKay bought into it.
That's right. Hey, I'm all for it. I think that's a wise decision. Getting people to debate something that they can really touch and feel, and that they enjoy.
And also on that issue, it's hard to debate and emerge with your lives in this quote unquote uncivilized society. I hope when people learn a little bit more about how to agree to disagree and hug it out at the end of things, it becomes better for everybody.
Yeah, civility is what we're starting to see decline. But I think that we can do as much as we can to have civil conversations, to have orderly debate, to be able to, find compromise, to see the greater good in everybody, and make sure that we speak positive life into some of these conversations. Social media, the algorithm has us driven towards negativity. So if we can come out of this thing without being eaten alive by all the things that's trying to get us, we'll be a better human for it.
Your mouth to God's ears. Finally, future mega events in Atlanta. Super Bowl every 5 years, CFPs.
Let's draw
The Cup, an unrivaled success. I mean, you got a whole bunch of good stuff coming up.
Yeah, World Cup's coming in a few days. We have the Super Bowl in 2028. We just had Major League Baseball All-Star game just a few months back in 2025. We got the Final Four coming in 2031.
Are you a hockey fan? Do you want hockey?
I want hockey. I'm not a big hockey fan, but I like the fights and I like to see
First mayor who admits it. Everyone loves it. First one who admits it.
right. I mean, it's the most orderly form of fighting.
Yeah.
In all other sports, they fight and the refs, it turns into a brawl because, it's not organized. Like they got rules to fighting in hockey. And then you also on ice skates, so you can't like knock a guy out too much because you can't really get leverage.
So said it like it is.
Yeah.
Yeah. But the economics, I know the commissioner is really excited about looking at Atlanta again.
Yeah.
You don't give up on a city because you have a team move twice. You look for a better deal.
Right. We had failed soccer 2 times before Arthur Blank brought soccer to Atlanta United. He brought it the right way.
Yeah.
He asked us, how can we create a fan base for this versus forcing it on us? So we ramped up into soccer from the community up to the big stage.
As a sports mecca civic leader, what advice do you have for other mayors around here and others who are putting together public-private partnerships as business people?
Yeah, make sure you look at the track record of cities that's done it successfully. Make sure that you involve the community in it, the Chamber of Commerce in it, the mayor's office for sure, city council. But also, make sure that you go into some sports that aren't always the most. I would say women's soccer, for instance, wasn't a big driver. Now it has a huge following. We're building stadiums around it, and then WNBA and the Unrivaled. So I think there's a lot of ways to be able to get sports. We want to get back to being big in tennis because that's a huge sport, and you have the opens, et cetera, that come. So
You have a big tournament to do.
we got a big tournament.
Yeah.
So I think, you got the football, you got the basketball, you got the baseball. Maybe the leagues don't want to expand 32 or more, but if you're a mid-sized city, you can still do some work. You could have another, soccer or some other related team.
Where's Andre Dickens 5 years from now?
Hopefully hoisting a, Super Bowl championship.
Bad. By the way, he guarantees it, right? He guarantees. Joe Namath guaranteed it. He was fine. He was okay. Other guys guaranteed it. Yeah, I was so fine, but you're okay.
That's right. I wouldn't even be mayor. I'll be working in the blank organization or something.
That's why I get us a football. Yeah, usually some people will say, "Well, if he calls me,
I was just,
this guy, I was just kidding." But I can't think of anybody more deserving
yeah.
as far as the future of Atlanta is concerned than Mayor Dickens. City's in good hands. U.S. Conference of Mayors in good hands. Really appreciate your time.
All right, guys.
Sports Professor Ricardo, speak with you soon.
You're on the record. A busy couple of weeks, highlighted by the mayor of Atlanta in the middle of the interview process here on the record. We also had some tremendous events this week, so let's go on the record. First, we go to Broken Sound Curse in Boca Raton for the senior event pairing Hall of Famers with the senior tour. PGA Champions debut, to be exact. Zach Johnson wins $333,000, but that's not the most important issue. He becomes one of the 22nd player to actually win on his debut on the senior tour. 50 years old, he's going to earn a lot more. By the way, he's amassed over $50 million in official PGA Tour career earnings as of early 2026. This is a next step in his career. What about the tournament? $850,000 for the Pro-Am, but also a $2.2 million purse. And most important, the Florida swing for the senior and the regular tour events, highlighted by this really interesting pairing of senior Champions Tour golfers and Hall of Famers in the NFL. Worked out tremendously as far as the tournament's concerned. More to come. That's number one. Number two, UFC unveils that card headlined by Topuria bout despite $30 million projected loss and a $60 million staging cost. Why? Well, it's June 14 June 14, but it's the White House. President Trump's 80th birthday. The celebration will be highlighted there. The deal is the merger of Paramount Plus and the 79 million subscribers ahead of the $110 billion merger. This is a major political victory as well as a significant victory for Dana White. That's number two. Number three, the president signs a second executive order in 2 weeks after the 24-person high-level summit meeting. Many coaches, commissioners, conferences together want to deal with the SCORE Act, want to deal with the transfer portal, as well as NIL. But the deal is how to move it forward. Randy Levine, the former New York Yankee president, is tasked by the president with identifying some of the details. And it is interesting. I'm here in Pinehurst boardroom after the UNC, North Carolina, Duke, tremendous game over the weekend, for Duke anyway. North Carolina shirt, Duke jacket. Now going to the ACC championship, though. ACC bet $480 million in revenue, bet $700 million, bet $400 million from television, bet $200 million for post in football and basketball, bet $45 million for each school. The end of the day, going to increase as well. $2 million per successful basketball unit, men and women, by the way, for tournament. And how about the football run? All University of Miami running to as far as they went, generating dollars not just for Miami, but the entire ACC. That's number three. Number four, 2026 Women's Asian Cup shatters the attendance record. About 82,000 fans before the knockout stages. Tremendous for women's soccer, but tremendous for soccer generally. The 2026 Women's Asian Cup surpassed the 2010 total of under 60,000, all dealing with a very significant number of how do you join forces. Men and women now have one common goal: as much revenue as possible. The Men's World Cup is next. Obviously, 11 venues across the U.S. and Canada and Mexico. Will cover that a lot. And that's number four. Number five, the WNBA stars, Caitlin Clark, Breanna Stewart, advocate for a marathon in-person CBA session to try to seal the deal. There's been some negotiation on both sides, but by the way, the deadline of mid-March, we're about there, but the May 8 season start looms. free agents awaiting contract clarity, WNBA clarity. We have a long way to go. That's the opening drive. Let's look at the 5 to watch, the top 5 sports business issues over the next week, 5 to 1. Number 5, national TV audience of the NHL up 23% immediately after the Olympic break. ESPN gains offsetting other than some of the non-marquee games they've had. 603,000 post-break average built on ESPN network growth to about 785,000 per telecast shows early Olympic momentum was not ill-founded. Incredible early February and moving even farther. Number 4, Adam Silver at a speech at MIT Sloan Analytics promises that he will do some very significant anti-tanking measures with some teeth, divorcing draft order from prior records, though he noted it to be a major system shock. And also he prefers an incremental approach. Arbitrary lines in the projected draft picks that may influence team competitiveness. He doesn't like it. He wants to figure out what to do with it, and don't put it past him with some major issues over the next couple of years. That's number 4. Number 3, the NFL and its media negotiations. Everybody says that the negotiations will heat up before the expiration of the 2029 season and the 2031 for ESPN. Well, got news for you. They're going to start those negotiations pretty early. First, Paramount, then Fox. And the discussions are that if you can do the extensions earlier than the expiration, they get the benefit of long-term commitments, which will also increase promotional value. And what does it mean? Well, it also increases the value as far as the next steps and increase the rights fees. Yahoo is there as well, some say. YouTube is viewed as a significant new competitor to enter into the 4-game transition that they now have with the NFL's and NFL Network's transition with ESPN. So we'll have to see how that all shakes out, but those negotiations are starting basically now. Number 3. Number 2, Oakland/Vegas, Sacramento A's, simply activity entertainment. 1,000 fans, the Diamond Club, the Athletic Club, they're talking about new values that will differentiate them as opposed to the deals that are currently existing with the Raiders as well as the Golden Knights. They're attempting to drive the consistency in their $1.75 billion investment and a 1,000-person top-tier club. They're trying to increase demand ahead of the 2028 opening. Now, obviously, we're all ready to get the new stadium done and the A's move from Sacramento. That's number 2. And number 1, TNT Sports secures a multi-year exclusive English language rights deal with major FIBA tournaments, Eurobasket 2029. The language rights not only including the U.S. markets, but also international ones, the World Basketball Cup on the men's side next year. Of course, Commissioner Silver talking about a new men's league. This is the first way in to see what the next step might be. So yeah, that's number 1. At the end of the day, this is really an important week for a whole host of reasons as we get ahead to March Madness and beyond. Like to thank Khaled Khazar for putting this all together. Like to thank others for helping us identify these issues for the week. Like to thank you all for listening and watching. Join us next week when we go behind the $2.6 trillion business of sports. I'm the sports professor, Rick Harrow. Speak with you soon.